And welcome back to On the Record. So Carl, just before we went to the break, I basically spelt out what the community and not the whole community, but some of the individuals who received letters, some of the concerns and some of the questions that they want answered and the questions that they're asking us.
First and foremost, I'm not gonna tell you, Mike, how to do your job, just like you're not gonna tell me how to do my job. These were complaints that came to council from community members, and they're gonna be addressed to the best of our ability, to the best of my ability. These individuals were identified, confirmed to be living on that territory, and we're just trying to deal with it the best that we could. We felt that letters they weren't letters to be leaving the territory. That's what we're gonna do, and it's as simple as that. It's funny you brought up the Daryl Leclerc situation. We never told him to go to the media. We never told him to go public with who and why he got the letter. He did it on his own, and for whatever reason he felt he needed to do that, then he'll do it. But we believe, and I have in my possession strong documentation to prove otherwise. He's saying that she never lived here or she doesn't reside here. Well, I have documentation proving that she does. And when it gets to that point where it has to be made public, then we'll decide as a council if we're going to make that documentation public.
And again, I think it's getting mixed up about, it's not the community member that's receiving the letter, it's the non-native individual that's receiving the letter. So for the community member to feel obligated to prove otherwise, the onus isn't on them, it's on the non-native person. And like Carl said, the complaints came from the community members, so we're trying to address it to the best of our ability.
And Lloyd Phillips said the same thing, that no community member had received a letter. And I asked people about that. I asked Daryl, actually, because I spoke to him today, who was the letter addressed to? And he told me it was addressed to the individual, attention to him. So if it was an attention to him, then he received a letter because it was given to him. So I asked him, then why did you take it? Because if the letter wasn't addressed to you, then you shouldn't take it at all. And I would say that to, not to say anything against what you're doing, but I'd say that to any community member, that it should never be attention to them. It should be addressed to the individual. I know the reason why you've done it is because they're supposedly living with the individuals, but if it's not for you, then don't take it, don't open it, don't do anything, and then let the Mohawk Council deal with whatever they're going to deal with. But because it was in attention to him, then the letter was given to him. You understand what I mean? So it's a play with words. Even though you're saying that they didn't get a letter, they did. The letter wasn't in their name, but it was attention to them, which means the same thing.
Well, when you say attention, his name was never mentioned when the letter was given to him.
On the letter itself?
The letter itself,
Yeah.
His name is never mentioned in it. Any individual that received the letter, who they're staying with, their name is not mentioned. It's totally addressed to the non-native that is living here. The local where they're residing, their name is never mentioned on the letter, or even the envelope that was given to them. So when you say attention,
according to Daryl, I'm saying. According to Daryl, he said his name was on the envelope.
Okay, well, I'd like to see it.
And that's what I said. I would like to see it too. So, but I didn't see the letter. I'm just basing it on that. That's all. One way or the other. If it wasn't addressed to him, then it's one thing. If it was, it was. You know. So I'm just trying to figure that out. The other thing is that I know the last time that we had spoke, you as well as Rhonda were very adamant about saying that all the names were going to be made public, without a doubt. Now, that didn't happen.
I'd like to go back on there and just, when you're saying without a doubt, because I don't recall saying that we're adamant that the names are going to be released. That was something that was discussed by the council table, and to this day it's still discussed whether or not the names are going to be released. If you can prove me wrong or otherwise, saying that either myself or Rhonda said the names are going to be published, where it's 100% sure, and like you're saying, even said adamant. I don't recall saying that, to be honest with you, Mike.
I didn't use adamant, but when I had asked you whether the names that were going to go are going to be public, and you said yes, they were. Once the letters were given to the individuals, their names were going to be public. Exactly that. And to this day, they're not. And that's one of the questions people are asking. Why are you gonna say that you're going to do it, and then now you're not? What happened?
We still didn't
What
say,
happened
first
then
of all,
to
we didn't
now?
say that we're not gonna do it. We still haven't decided if we were gonna do it, and if we do it, how we're gonna go about doing it. So, you know, number one is, I don't recall saying that the names were gonna be released 100%. Number two is, we still haven't decided if they're gonna be or not. And if they are gonna be, how we gonna how we gonna do it?
They're actually doing the job for us because they keep going to the eastern door.
And we talked about that, you know, that there's, not everybody is going to sit back and not do anything or not say anything. 20, 30 years ago, that might have been true. Today, it's not. There's so much media now in this community. People aren't going to just stay here. They're going to go out to the bigger media, national. They're going, you know, there may be lawsuits. We talked about a lot of that at the first, prior to these letters ever going out, the what ifs. And I know that you weren't sure what some of the what ifs were, but what are the what ifs now from that first time? What is happening? What are some of the community members doing, or what are the non-natives doing or done or have done since that time?
Well, today, oh, go ahead, sorry guys,
I was
go
going to
ahead.
say some of them have left. And you have to keep in mind, in the letter it said you have 10 days to either comply or come to council and basically state your case. What is your purpose or intent here, or you know what I mean? Like they could have came to council and made arrangements if they want to say, you know, it's April right now, could we make 3 month, whatever, I'll look for a place. Any kind of arrangement, but we have to maintain that the law says that non-natives don't have the right to live here. So basically, it's contravening the law, and we have to uphold what that is. If the community wanted it to be something other than what it is now, then they have an obligation to come forward in the community decision-making process for membership and change the law as it exists today.
Which law is that?
The membership law, the moratorium, 1981, anybody who, you know, for as far as I can remember, I was always told and knew that if I was to fall in love with a non-native person, marry a non-native person, I had to leave the community with that person. I don't know where and how that people just thought, okay, well, it doesn't apply to me, or I don't respect the wishes of my community, and my individual rights is going to succeed the rest. I don't know where that changed in our mentality of maintaining peace, because if we talk about, you know, our principles of who we are in Guyana de Goa, if everything is about maintaining the peace, well, as soon as you bring a person here that the community has said time and time again they don't want the non-native people living here, then you're basically disturbing the peace, and then the community has a right to voice their displeasure with that.